break every chain, break every chain, break every chain. Woo! To break every chain, break every chain, break every chain. There is power, come on, in the name of Jesus. Come on, you declare it. There is power in the name of Jesus. There is power in the name of Jesus. We know where it is to break every chain. Man, gotta get it together, I'm telling you. Getting ready. Good morning to my lovely people. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing wonderful.
Well, that's so crazy because you were louder before. Now you're on low key.
Hey!
There you go. You got to wake up. I'm like, you got to wake up. Let's get this show started. Hey, it's Shop Talk, baby. This is the show where it's okay to be you. We're talking from Yale to jail and from the church house to the pimp house. Nothing's excluded on Shop Talk. So if you don't have a phone, I suggest you borrow one. Call in and voice your opinion live every Saturday morning from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Yeah, that's right, 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Don't forget to Shop Talk with your girl, because right here, we keeps it real. Hey! You gotta usher, we gotta get it together, play our music before the show to get hyped. That's what we do. Well, that's what I do. Nick over there on some soft stuff like she on the phone with a dude. Hey, how you doing? You were like, what? I need you to get it going. All right, lovely people. Today's topic is none other than break every chain. And we know how it is with our Juneteenth coming up, and it's not June yet. But I figured today, break every chain was a good topic because everything that's going on now and has been going on for centuries, we're still in the same place. But what's happening is we keep talking. We keep talking and we keep focusing on the bad and how we're mistreated. Just because it is does not mean it has to be. Somebody preach! Okay, listen, if you... Yeah, Nick, Amber, let me check your sound real quick. Yes, we are live, but y'all know we live.
Yes.
Okay, I'm like...
Here. Yep, I think the sound's working okay.
Okay, because I'm having trouble, or maybe it's just me. Maybe it's age.
I haven't said anything yet, so there shouldn't be any sound from my end.
Okay, no issues with the sound from your end? Okay, maybe I need to turn up. Let's see. When you get new stuff.
Well, I have my speakers on half volume. Maybe that was part of it. I don't know.
Okay, I think I got my stuff legit now. All right, lovely people. Good morning. Let's start all over. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Good morning.
There we go. That's a little better. Maybe it was me. That's why I was sitting there trying, let me try to get this thing going. I'm like, or I need to pass y'all the mic. We're going to pass the mic like at the old school talk shows. Be like, is there something you need to say?
Yes.
But I hear constantly, and these things do happen. Speaking of all the things that happen, where there's social injustices, we see it, we know it's there. What do we do? What do we do? Because we keep voicing the problem, we keep speaking on the problem, and it's like, okay, we're talking about it, don't talk me to death. But what are we doing? And then we had the whole, remember when the younger generation, which is you, Amber, they like, listen, I'm tired. I'm no Martin Luther King. They had shirts and everything. We out here doing it and change is coming. And it's like, okay, we still see the same thing. We still see the same thing. Don't talk me to death. What are we doing? What are you teaching your children? What are you speaking on in the house? And, you know, in your home, what are we doing? That's $1 million question. What are we doing?
That one is hard. It's like everybody keeps talking about the same thing, but it's for one, it's separation. Like you have this group trying to do something, this group is trying to organize something, but they don't want to mess with this group because this person in that group don't mess with that person. The whole topic is changed, so it's like we all need to get together on one accord and just do what we need to do. I mean, because the kids going crazy, everything. But it's just like, to me, I think the biggest problem is too many chiefs, not enough Indians. When you're trying to organize something to make a change.
Amber, you got something?
Well, I think that as far as legal wise, there's an issue with, Black, I think African Americans not receiving any type of like protected class. And then also I think that when you're waiting on unity to move, to make progress, there's not going to be progress made because we're all individuals. And I think what needs to happen is that we need to be teaching and encouraging our youth and our young people and our children to value and aspire to positions of power and influence. Talking is not effective. Marching is not effective. It's being in a position of power is what is effective. Being in a position where you can change things, where you have the authority or the platform to do something different. But I feel like overall as a community, that's something that we really do struggle with, is really penetrating those industries and fields where that is associated in positions of power. Like, you need to obtain power first to affect change.
Well, here's the thing. Hey, Art said there are no Black leaders. And it reverts back to exactly what Nick was saying. Too many chiefs and not enough Indians. Everybody wants to be a leader, but nobody, and we already know in order to be a great leader, you have to be a great follower.
Yeah.
And you know when your time to shine is. And to me, and this is my opinion, if you are a great leader, you're okay to sit back and follow and let somebody else lead.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I also wanted to add to what Art was saying about there being no Black leaders.
It's what?
I just lost my train of thought, but I'll bring it back up in a second.
It'll come back.
Let it come back to me.
It'll come back. I was saying with Nick when she was speaking about, not enough Indians, so many chiefs. I believe that people. You remember? Every time I go back to that, you remember. Let me let you go. Let me let you say it. I'm gonna remember mine. Go ahead.
Came back. My point was, on a greater scale, also I believe, my tinfoil hat's tingling right now. One of my conspiracy theories is that the dominant society intentionally tries to push disqualified people as quote unquote leaders of the Black community. So you've got the media listening to what a rapper is saying about the plight of the Black community, a basketball player talking about the plight, like these, Cardi B, who's not even Black. And I feel like that is intentionally orchestrated because anybody with sense will say, okay, what is someone who's knowledgeable about the history, someone who's educated, who has the wisdom and the history and the resume to support, us listening to what this person has to say. I feel like the American culture intentionally tries to uplift Black people that aren't even qualified to speak on, quote unquote, on behalf of the Black community. And I feel like that's intentional, so it looks like we're confused, we don't have any direction, we have a lack of understanding, but, it's all by design, because I feel like there are lots of really intelligent Black people that are very knowledgeable, who have a great understanding of like sociology and the culture and history and all that stuff, and they have no voice.
The people that should have the voice.
Right. The people that should have a voice don't have a voice. And I feel like that's intentional.
Interesting you should say that. I'm looking at things from I don't know if that would be like an advertising standpoint, where it's like, okay, this is what's popular, so let's bring this person in. We remember, I know me and Nick for certain, and you may as well, Amber. Do you remember when Charles Barkley said, "I am not a role model"? I believe that was him. Wow. Yeah. Okay. So here again, it's like, I'm here. I'm paid to play basketball. Let's go with Cardi B. Even though they didn't say this is me. I'm here to make music. Like, this is what I'm doing. It is not my responsibility, where society is saying that it is the responsibility of the artist to spread the word. So you have politicians that are coming in and pretty much guiltifying the artists and the entertainers to saying you have a responsibility, when that wasn't it. They was trying to have fun. So now you're taking the fun out of their art and their craft, and it's like, oh, okay, and they're losing money. Like me, I'm into acting. Anybody that knows me, they know that history about me. So, okay, I'm acting, but you shouldn't do that role because that suppresses the black man. Air quotes I'm using for my listening audience. Come on. Oh, you just set us back 400 years. My response about how I feel, and I'm speaking for the people, should not set us back. One person should not set an entire community back 400 years. We got to stop. We have to stop and say, guess what? The way that I feel, my thought process does not speak for the entire culture, community, and race. How come we can't do what we want to do? And then you have the politicians, as you were saying, Amber, and not just politicians, people who are actually qualified to speak, and we're shunning them because they're not, quote unquote, air quotes, popular. They're not what's happening. Nobody knows. What's the judge? I can't even think of her name right now. Look, I'll probably set y'all back not knowing her name right now. Katanji. No, Katanji.
Katanji Brown. Oh.
Yeah. Now, if people don't know who Katanji Brown is, they're like, oh, okay, we didn't know her until she made the news. And it was like, oh, wait, this is something to be proud of. And now we'll look at the name. But would we have wanted her prior to? Would be like, oh, I don't know that judge, and I've never stood before a judge, and I'm not interested. But the community needs to be interested in who you are standing in front of, because let me tell you one thing. Look, you never know when you have to stand before somebody. And we see so many times, because we speak about it, we've been speaking about it, the innocent being guilty. The innocent being guilty. And it's like, okay, I may ride down the street. Oh, yeah, we got this on you. What? That wasn't me. Somebody said, yes, it was. So voting is very important, whether you believe it or not. You have to look at things like, okay, who would I vote for if I'm in this situation? No, I'm not doing anything illegal. I'm just DWB, driving while black. Or in cases as such, I just went to Taco Bell and somebody that I didn't like, you know where we going, Amber, somebody that I didn't like or didn't like me, they came in and they threatened me and I respond. And then guess what? I'm in this situation. And we've been talking about the whole gun control. Listen, yes, do I believe in gun control? Absolutely. Just like with Trayvon Martin, they were like, guns don't kill, people do. Remember that whole slogan? Yes. But guess what? People are picking them up. And let's be real, 100, because I got to do it. You want gun control, got it, but who do you want to be controlled by these guns?
Exactly.
Let's talk. Let's shop talk, okay? We know you want us to be controlled by these guns, but the issue that you're probably having is, oh, wait, they're leveling the playing field. Let's say this, you can't get a gun if this, and you can't get a gun if that. And that's where we, as black people, have to say, listen, we gonna level this playing field, but we got to stop killing each other. Now, we talked about that, and then I'm gonna let you go, Amber. Now, you see that, oh, black on black crime and blah, 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 and then you'll have some of the Caucasian people like, oh, well, y'all killing each other. Okay, but y'all are too for insurance money.
Boom.
Shall I shop talk? You know what I'm saying? And here's what I've noticed. That's under the rug. You see the gunfire, okay, that made news. But the news is not going to report on, and I'm using air quotes, Susie shooting Herman and got a life insurance policy on him. They're not going to talk about that, just as they don't talk about suicide. They talk about the killing, the murders, all that, but they don't talk about suicide. That doesn't make the news. That's like quiet. And, I got to give y'all something because I got to give y'all this. I just do. Suicide prevention number. I'm going to definitely give it to you if you're feeling depressed, okay? But you have those that commit suicide, and that doesn't make news. What makes news is what people want to see. But who are these people? Who are these people that you're catering to? Hey, if you want in on this conversation, feel free to do so. The phone number here is 619-902-2287, 619-902-2287. We want to hear what you got to say. Go ahead, Amber.
I think it kind of goes back to, like I was saying originally, people naturally, for the most part, are going to have a bias towards their own group, whatever group that they're a part of. And when you have most media outlets in control by dominant society, I think that it makes sense that they're going to focus on the undesirable behavior of other groups and not the undesirable behavior within their own group. And again, that's Black people not having power, not having their own, networks, minus Oprah Winfrey. Right, Oprah has done it. But,
true.
Not having our own media, not having our news station. And we do, but it's discredited, it's dismissed, it's diminished, and it's not supported by our own.
That's the problem.
We don't support it ourselves. So if there was
schools in,
what is it? BET News. If BET News was something that was actually really supported by the Black community, and most Black people got their news through BET News, other groups of people will understand, okay, well, if you want to penetrate the Black community, you have to go to their news station and communicate with them through there, because they're listening to what's coming through BET News, not what's coming through CNN and MSN and all that other stuff. We don't support our own, our own efforts to, control our narrative. Like, just like the, teaching slavery in school. It's like, why are you expecting someone else to teach your own history and not having Black schools, having very few Black universities? It's an infrastructure issue is the root of it. I don't blame other groups of people for prioritizing their own people. Black people should be prioritizing their own people. And I think that is the root issue, not that you give favoritism to your own kind, as you should.
Go ahead, Nick.
I was going to say, I know BET used to have news all the time about you, and you brought it up before I did, but it's like, what happened to it?
I'll tell you what happened to it. It's no longer Black owned.
Exactly. Boom. How do you have a Black station that's not Black owned anymore? Same thing with the radio stations. The Black radio stations that we had, no longer Black owned. Why?
I'll explain that.
The almighty dollar.
Well, here's the thing. Yes, but you have people who, just like us, like Nick, like what you said, no longer Black owned. Maybe the finances, maybe the non-support of Black people, and even though, and I want to put this out here, there are organizations. There's organizations that are out there that support Blacks. Okay, that support us. The problem is, where's the numbers? So we're not talking. Our conversation is not about oh, nobody's out there doing the work. Because if you know me, if you know Nick, and if you know Amber Dee, we out here doing it. But at the meeting, it's 10, 11 people. So you need the numbers. And that's where the problem is. And that's probably why they are adopting what are our people looking at? We're looking at sports, entertainment, sports, music. Okay, let's pull these people over here. And you're trying to hold them accountable. And it should not be.
Right.
This is what I like to do. I like to play basketball. I like to play football. Yeah, I'm popular for doing this. But now my people are coming together and ganging up on me to be a political figure when that's not, I don't do politics. And it's like, no, that's not what I do. But I do vote. And you want to put this face here, but you need to put that face here that knows all about it and can give you the ins and outs. But what's happening? So you have white society that's pretty much slandering and want to tear down, like LeBron with the vaccine. Keep your politics over there, because we know what it really is. Let's be real. Yeah, they probably going to be like, Facebook going to be like, You know, we already know, because you don't want that out there, okay? Yeah.
Restricted.
Yeah. But it's like, why is there a problem if I become successful and everybody know me and I'm the popular person? Why is there a problem for me to feel the way that I want to feel? You want me to feel the way that you think I should feel so that I can actually coerce my people into doing something that I'm not even for.
And the thing is, if you don't, they start blackballing you and it affects your money. So they have no other choice, whether that's their opinion or how they really feel or not. And speaking of, when you're saying getting together and, working in the community and there's only like a couple people that show up, case in point, Shimmy put together
okay, so that's somebody in the community.
Yes.
Yeah.
In the community. Tried to put together a coalition. Everybody, he said he had everybody saying, yeah, we, even on his lives and his posts, yeah, I got you, brother, I got your back, this and that. Do you know how many people showed up to the meetings, the couple that we had? He was very disappointed. But
watch this, though. Let me say this, since you brought that up. If that's your goal, if that's your passion, if one person comes, you met your goal.
Yep.
So that's like me. I've been doing this for 12 years. My community is my community. And if one person shows up, or if one person heard something that I said, I'm good, because this is my passion. And you have to understand, even with dreams, when you have dreams and, it's like, okay, this is what I want to do. You cannot base your dream off of somebody else's like. You cannot base yourself or gauge yourself and what you're trying to do off of if this person like it. Do you like it? That's where it's at.
Think that, again, when you fall back, like I was saying earlier, when it's like, oh, I'm not getting support, so I'm just like going to give up.
Or get upset.
Or get upset, exactly. And like I said, I really do believe it comes down to not so much group organization, because I feel like it's unrealistic. And just like in marketing, you know what I'm saying? If you want 10 people to come to an event, you need to reach out to 50, because that's numbers. It's not even like, oh, the Black community is so bad. That's like, there is data to support that, how to market a product or an event. You have oversubscribe by so much, like by 10 times to get the return, to get to your goal.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I think it's really, as far as making change within the community, it's about changing within yourself and within your personal life and within your family and your kids. Like, you can't be sitting here and be like, well, the community has a progress because them people over there. But what are you doing to progress as an individual? If we're all progressing as individuals, then we would progress as a community.
Mm-hmm. I want to put this out here and to speak to this young brother, Shimmy Miller. Pros and Cons. He has a podcast too, so you guys make sure you check that out. Don't be discouraged. Don't be discouraged. Like I was saying, I've been doing this for 12 years. So when I see one person on, people look at the likes or see who's viewing it. That's at that moment. That doesn't mean that that's going to be forever. That doesn't mean that they're not watching it later or having me waiting all day. They're like, okay, I'm going to wait for a few more y'all to come out. Anybody that know me. I start on time. If I don't start on time, that's an issue. If I'm having an event, it'd be like, listen, you clicked on, you got my attention. Listen, time. Some people say time is money. I believe that too. But I believe a little bit more. Time you can't get back. Please don't waste mine. Sitting there looking in the thing like, okay, I'm going to wait for a few more. I'm gone. You just lost me.
Right.
When you have the opportunity, take it. There's nothing between us, nothing in between us, but what is it? Time and opportunity, space and opportunity, whichever one you choose. But when you have that opportunity, you better go for it. Don't be waiting on people.
Right. And I wanted to add that in like the fine arts field and in the design field, there's a lot of artists who didn't gain notoriety until many, many years later, sometimes after their death. And I know in the music industry, there's a lot of artists who have recorded songs like years prior, and then the song finally blew up years later. So you definitely wouldn't base your success on what's happening in the moment.
Well, correct. Go ahead, Nick. You want something?
I'm sitting here wondering why every time we on here, they want to come cut the grass.
Oh, girl. That's the devil.
Exactly.
It's all good. Yeah, that's all. It's all good. I don't hear it. Okay. So your voice is being heard. And that's what's important. Okay? Just look at it as theme music.
What you say, theme music?
Theme music. They cutting the grass, but like, yeah, let's get rid of that old hot mess. I need y'all to see the vision, okay? That's how we gonna look at it.
Boom, I like that. I need y'all to see this vision.
Yes. And when you talk about, the different people not helping you and say they're all in, let me address that. Just because you don't see people, and I know you're like, Mel, that's an oxymoron. You're saying boom, 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 we need the numbers. But just because you don't see people don't mean that they don't support. At that moment, it may be something going on that you're like, okay, wait, I'm supporting you. Boom, here you go. There have been events of mine that have been sold out. And when you come to the event, you're like, oh, it's empty chairs. That's okay, because guess what? Mission accomplished for my goal, my fundraiser, which is mentoring young girls program. Those tables are sold. The people may not be there, but the tables are sold. People invested money they gave for the fundraiser. So don't look at what's in front of you, just as Amber said, at the moment. Because you're able to give, which I'm so grateful, because the Battle of the Sexes, hey, let's make this happen. The Battle of the Sexes, June 4th, is coming up, June 4th. Make sure you come, get your ticket, do what it is that you need to do. It's if you are in the area, and if you are not, come through. Anyway, roll down. We're going to have a great time. So it's the Battle of the Sexes luncheon and day party. The last time I did it, we couldn't do it through COVID, so it was a while back. It's $35 per ticket, and we know the food went up. So guess what? You're only paying for your plate. Everything else is free. Your girl got you. However, it's a fundraiser for young girls mentoring program, which is my best tea party club. And the reason I chose to do that for this Battle of the Sexes program is because we need more women to speak to our youth. I saw a photo today on Twitter. My heart broke. My heart broke because it was a young girl there. It was like the centerfold for Playboy. She had on a biker outfit. I'm dating myself. I don't know what y'all call it, the spandex outfit, with her legs open she was leaning in the car. Beautiful, beautiful face. Blessed there. But guess what? A pretty face don't matter anymore, clearly. A pretty face anymore don't give you likes, clearly, that this young girl felt like she needed to do that. My heart broke. Because I'm looking like, I don't want to see that. I mean, like, for free too. Remember, we talked about the people like, oh my God, they on Playboy. It was a time you'd be like, oh, I know her. She was this. You know what I mean? Where now that's what's popular. And that's sad that that's popular. And it's sad that if you're going to do it, you're going to do it for free. Am I promoting that? No, but what I'm saying is get something out of it if this is what you choose to do. You know?
Attention, acknowledgement, that's what they're getting out of it. And they believe that, displaying their body in that manner in exchange for attention is worth it.
But it's not. So this is my next question, is our self-esteem, and not just females, men too, is our self-esteem that low?
Yes.
Because that's what it boiled down to. That you are looking for validation from strangers. These people really don't know you. Newsflash. Just like remember the what was it? Facebook and everything went down. I was like, oh, I'm a model today. Oh, who am I? When the social media went down. Y'all remember that? That wasn't that long ago. I was like, oh, I'm an Insta. Oh, no, I'm not. You are who you are. To me, that was a wake-up call, and I hope people took advantage of that. Or how many people were dependent on, oh, my gosh, now what? Were they in shock? Did they go sit down and say, I need to come up with a plan? B, because posting pictures is not it. How am I going
to... models that get all these likes and make all this money off of people going on their page and giving them likes, yeah.
Well, at least some of them getting a little bit of change, but that need to be the side job. That need to be the side job.
Exactly. Like, what is your goal to become a model? I don't know. What happens to going to modeling agencies and starting there? A lot of them are getting their fame off of social media, which is not a bad thing sometimes in some cases, but it depends on what you're doing.
Well,
I think
go ahead.
The modeling agency is more old school, and when we moved to the digital era, like it's kind of like the middleman. And I think like those modeling schools and stuff where they teach you like the industry, that's beneficial. But I would look at it as a side hustle. If it's bringing in a little extra money, it's bringing in some money. And side hustles come and go, so you can get while the getting's good and then get out.
Right. That's what you need to do. But you got to have, what's your plan A? What are we going to do? What are we going to do? What's your plan A? That should be, see, this social media stuff should be your plan B. But what's your plan A? How are you supporting yourself? Or are you looking for, air quotes again, listening audience, Big Daddy?
Sugar Daddy.
Yeah. That's what we need. Big Daddy gonna come through. When is Big Daddy coming through with his wife and kids? He gonna pay this, and I'm gonna do that.
Right.
I never in a million years. Let me say exactly what it is, because it's prostitution. You just got your person. Never in a million years, as a little girl, would I ever thought that I would see this day where there's so many different air quotes, but this is my words. Prostitutes, and I'm gonna say committed prostitutes. When you had your Big Daddy, you got your person, and it's like, oh, this is what we do. He paid this, he paid that, and I know that he has somebody over there. Usually, the prostitutes were winning back in the day, in the 80s, early 80s, late 70s. They were winning back in the day because they were spouses, they were married, and maybe that's something that their spouse wouldn't do, and they would go out and let somebody else do it. But they didn't want their spouse. And some of them, the guys that I spoke with, they didn't want their wives to do A, B, C, and D because that's their wife. But I'll go get it out here. So that's how the prostitutes was making their money back then. Or they'll post, what's that called, Amber, now? That new term where you can't, celibacy, that, what is it? They can't get no yah.
Oh, incel.
Incel, there you go. So they go pay for it.
Well, I think that...
And they call them a trick now.
What the saying now is that, the saying has gone, and it's still true, is that, prostitution is the oldest occupation for women. Women have been selling themselves since the beginning of time. And a lot of it is due to situation and circumstance. I think that I was actually just watching a documentary about these working women, and someone pointed out that there is a big difference between having an OnlyFans page and actually being like working the streets, or being pimped out. And I think that I'm all for sexual liberation, women doing what they want to do, but we also have to acknowledge that a huge portion, I'd say way more than 50% of women who are sex workers are victims, and they're victimized, and brainwashed, and it really preys on disadvantaged women. Like there is a reason why so many sex workers are traumatized women.
Well, yeah, but now I got to say with this younger generation, they cut the middleman. They don't need a pimp. They like, give me my money directly, like cash at me, you know. Exactly. So
we got one street here in Houston. Everybody knows it's very famous. You can look it up on YouTube. Bissonnette Street. They still got prostitutes out in the street now. Listen, Bissonnette all up and down. Everybody.
Now, listen here. Why would she say the name to let people know if you want to be a prostitute? I'll tell you where to go. No. They gotta do. Listen, you gotta do your own research. They gotta do their own research if that's what they try to do. Go ahead.
I think there's a big difference between having an OnlyFans page and you're cutting out the middleman and you're doing what you're comfortable with for some money. And then a lot of prostitutes are like also drug addicts, and like it's just like a lot more dangerous and a lot more seedy. How are you gonna be sexually assaulted on having an OnlyFans page? But if you're actually working at the street, you know, it's much more likely. So I think, and like I said, a lot of them tend to have substance abuse issues. So
yeah, they do. Now let's talk about this substance abuse. Now it's out there publicly. Watch this. This is gonna crack you up. It's out there publicly that out in the streets, you know, people are putting fentanyl in marijuana. I'm gonna use. Allegedly, that's what I'm going to say, okay? Interesting now that there are dispensaries. Follow me, people. Now it's legal. Now we want to put it out there. Oh, yeah, go to the dispensary. It's much more safe than getting it on the street. Where you weed man at? You know what I mean? You got that person, but it's interesting how now...
It's tingling.
It's tingling. Go ahead, Amber. Go.
I think it's intentional because I feel if you looked at just like people were saying that during the crack era that was intentionally brought in by the government and dispersed into the black community. I think it makes sense when you're talking about big pharma, which is big, okay, right? Big pharma who goes all the way up to the top. So okay. This is the future. This is the way of the future. We're going to get in the groundwork. We're going to make it legal. We're going to give ourselves the advantage in this industry. And then we need to push people to go to dispensaries. And I think that's by contaminating your mom and pop.
Your supply.
Right, exactly. Contaminating your street supply. So that then people are scared because they don't want to die and overdose on fentanyl-laced marijuana and will go to a reputable, clean dispensary instead.
See? What you gonna do? What do you do?
Grow it in your backyard. Amber didn't say that, though.
Okay. Look, you got some people growing tomatoes in their house right by the window.
Okay. That's right. They're very, and if you're not educated, most people don't know potatoes come from the ground. So get in your garden, people. Learn something. Most people can't tell the difference between a tomato plant and a marijuana plant.
That. Now, let's go to Nick. You want to read the comment? It's up now.
A week apart, same farmer, we assure, but he was not arrested.
Do you guys remember that? You know anything about that?
I don't think I remember.
Okay, it's all right if you don't. Y'all go check it out, but we doing the show. So I want to get back to, listen, she's tingling. Amber's tingling, you know, with her thoughts of why all of this, and I'm sure a whole...
To her earlier comment, now I know what she's talking about.
Okay, it's a whole lot of people that have that tingle. They're like, okay, what's really going on? We already know. Let's talk about the Taco Bell situation. Amber, go.
So a Taco Bell employee fired shots at Taco Bell customers in the drive-thru. This made the news. And now, last I had heard of this story, he was on the run. So apparently, I think the Taco Bell employee was a young man. And then the customers in question were also young people. And apparently, in the article, it said that the customers returned fire. So that means the customers were also armed. And they basically had a shootout in the Taco Bell drive line. Yep.
Okay.
So that wasn't a coincidence they went to Taco Bell that day.
Well,
See?
Especially that one. All the Taco Bells, you almost got a Taco Bell on every other corner nowadays.
And watch this. Isolated situation. And we're like, nope, I'm not going to that Taco Bell anymore because I might get killed. Let's just say that that's a black-owned Taco Bell. And that happened. And you have two people, well, three in that case. And I really feel like, that's what I was talking about earlier, they knew each other.
Yeah.
Because how do you come ready?
Well, some people say strap. You know,
Listen,
so,
some people do, they do, but that fast,
Right.
but that fast, but here's my thing, that fast. It sounded like dude was like, listen, I'm at work and he had Taco Bell. So let's look at that.
Well, if I may elaborate, a lot of times what happens is that if you already strapped, that means you doing something you ain't got no business doing. Because if you strapped at work, that means you up to no good in them streets. So
maybe, or you know somebody's after you.
Right. If you out there playing, you got ops, as they say, you know, then you out there doing some dirt that you ain't got no business doing. By the way, good morning, lady. Sorry I'm late.
Hey, don't worry about that. The show's going on. You know that. We move.
Right. Keep moving. Keep on moving. Don't stop. Just like soul to soul, baby.
Oh man, don't let me put my DJ hat on.
Wild on real quick, you know what I mean? Oh, rest in peace to Bernard Wright. You know what I'm saying? Who do you love? He passed away.
Oh, what about Chuck Brown? Since you want to say that, yeah, rest in peace, Chuck Brown. Y'all know I love my go-go.
Yes.
Yes. So, matter of fact, remember at the beginning, I always play it early on. Get in the mood. Yeah. So we got a few people, but we paid homage. And just to Art's point, as far as like, something that's going on. Here's what's interesting to me. How many people did you put in danger?
A lot.
You going to work.
These people ain't ever a good shot. They're not like snipers. Okay, people are always bystanders, kids, dogs. Anybody can catch a bullet because they're. And that was a comment I tend to see a lot on these stories that get covered. Is like they aren't. It's not owning a gun isn't the problem. I support particularly Black people's Second Amendment rights, but there's a responsibility, and if you're going to have a gun, you do need to be a responsible gun owner. And there's too many irresponsible gun owners. Not that there shouldn't be gun owners. Now you're just not being responsible. Now
I'm going to go to Annette's comment. She says 6/12, June 12th, everybody can legally carry a gun in Ohio. Here's the thing. Yeah, and that's true, long as they are not a felon. Now, it's probably going to go back to, wait a minute. How many people are getting felonies for basic stuff? That's back to what I was saying. My mind is tingling, Amber Dee. It's tingling.
You gotta get a tinfoil hat.
Okay. And it's like, okay, I was watching it. I see that. And why do I have a felony? Most of our people that are incarcerated, let's be real, majority men, Black men, they take a plea because they know that their family can't afford an attorney. And they just want out. And they take that plea. Listen, I mean, if you're into bad stuff, you're doing negative things, and just like Art said, what you into on the street, and you get caught, because that is part of the job description, okay? And you get caught, it's like, okay, I'm going to say this as a parent. Taking a plea, yeah, you want out because you don't want your parents to have to pay. And it's like, okay, believe it or not, mentally, every day that you go out, our mind is racing and we praying and we like, Lord, protect my child. You know, all of it's stressful just being out there. Now, there are some parents that is okay with their child doing some illegal mess. But here again, just as I said, how many people did you put at risk for the Taco Bell incident? When you make a decision to do wrong and you know you're going down that path, you just put your parent, your family, everybody in that household at risk. Now, do you love them or not? To me, that'll be an all.
Thank you.
Well,
And I feel like that's like it's the what it's tumbling to is that I think like we already talked about, when people get into illegal activity, it's based on selfishness and being lazy. They're not thinking about their children, because most of these men got kids, multiple kids. They're not thinking about their mothers and their aunties and their uncles and their cousins and their family and all these other people that they could be putting in danger or could hurt if they died.
Yeah,
you end up incarcerated for multiple years. It's just, they're only thinking about themselves.
And here's the thing. And if they die, they don't have enough money to put away for us to put them, you know, we got to go fund me. Like, if this is what you're going to do, I'm going to need you to slide me some money just in case this happened, because it can be part of the job description. Go ahead, Art.
The thing of it is that, you know, what happens is they're really unconscious of the moment. You know, it's like they're not thinking responsibly. They're not trying to... Only thing about there is they're living in that moment. That's why we keep going through this vicious cycle of losing young people. For instance, you know, a couple of shootings that happened on the South Side. We're losing young people because of the father, you know.
Because what? Because what? What about the father?
Because the sins of the father could be the problem. You know,
oh, sometimes, yeah.
You know, the daddy out there in the street doing stuff he ain't got no business doing. I know that was one case where a young man got killed. You know, there's so many different attributes that, you know, basically why this vicious cycle keeps happening. You know, and it's really sad because everybody think they pull a gun, they're invincible. And that's not the case. What happens is when you pull that trigger on that person that you have a beef or a problem with, the vicious cycle begins as soon as you pull the trigger.
Okay.
That's when it begins because...
Uh-oh. Okay. Let me know when you're coming back in. Here's the thing. What he was saying, like, you know, you have some young men that their dad, sins of a father. Like you said, I like that term. That's why I was like, oh, what? I'm feeling that, okay? However, comma, we as females, I'm going to come back to you. Art. We as females, this is who we are choosing. Now, unless you're raped, I got to put that out there. Totally different. But when you choose to lay down with someone that you know that is out there street hustling, that's all you. I am not being careful, but careful with my terms, okay? If you are not, this is excluding rape victims. If you make a conscious decision, or somebody who's addicted, okay, you trying to get your next high. But if you make a conscious decision to lay down with this man, guess what? This is the possibility. This is that child's role model. Now let's talk about the women who date guys and they have children already. You're dating this guy. I have said, and I will continue to say this. Fathers, if you have your daughter is going to become, and I asked that question, are you okay with your daughter becoming that woman who you dating or who you laying up with? Because you are teaching her, women follow women. Well, girls follow women, boys follow men. So women, when you are dating this guy, your child is like, oh, that's what my mom like. I'm a mama's boy. I don't care. Coming out, you a mama's boy, daddy's girl, that term. So this is what my mom likes. So I'll become that. And I get tired and I see it clearly where you have mothers dress their children according to what they're attracted to. So mothers dress their sons according to what they're attracted to.
Oh my goodness.
Same thing.
Like the dope boy.
Listen, well, hold on. Let me stay focused for the listening audience. Let me say, hold on, stop, Art. And the fathers who are doing their thing and they're dating multiple women, your daughter is looking like That's okay. So when a guy come and he's dating multiple women, that's all right. He got another woman. That's okay because I'm still here. But they watch. And it's like, okay, don't do as I do. Remember that old saying back in the day, don't do as I do as I say do? That's not it anymore.
That's my daddy.
But guess what? That's not it anymore. That's not it. Because to me, that's a cop-out, no offense to your father. That's a cop-out to say, I know I'm doing wrong.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I know I'm doing wrong. Don't watch what I do. But that's your role model. That's your first role model. That's your first love. Go ahead, Amber.
I wanted to just piggyback off of what Art's saying because I'm a woman and I prefer to speak from the position of a woman. And when he was talking about their young men and living in the moment, and that kind of goes back to what I feel like I've said multiple times. A man can't lead if he can't practice foresight. And if all you're doing is living in the moment, you don't have the ability to think 6 months into the future, a year into the future, 5 years into the future. That's not a good man. And that's my message to young ladies out here. If you're dealing with a man who's in that culture, understand that he has no foresight. And a leader you can't lead a group of people or lead your family or lead a woman, and you can't think into the future and have a plan and say, okay, this might come out, da 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 da. And like it's rooted in, like Art was saying, being in the moment and just, going by what's happening there. And it's very knee-jerk. Mm-hmm. It's reactive. It's a reactive-based lifestyle instead of a proactive-based lifestyle. And it's just rooted in failure. And it's just, just from our own understanding and then also from, like, scientific studies, I mean, it just leads to destruction. Like, there's no future in that lifestyle. And what you were talking about, Mel, as far as women's accountability and contribution to the situation, I feel like we have talked about this before. And it's like, if you're attracted to that type of energy as a young lady, there's something wrong with you. That's my personal opinion. There's a lack inside of you because you should not be attracted to a male that doesn't have a future, that can't lead, who's demonstrating publicly to everyone that he doesn't practice foresight, that he doesn't have the ability to exercise foresight, that society will tell you, and even the black community will tell you, this man has no future. He's living in the moment, and maybe he can give you money right now, he can give you attention right now, but next week, next month, because maybe he's with another woman, maybe he's in jail, maybe whatever, he's not going to be there. As a woman, if you're willing to open up yourself emotionally, and then open up your womb, be willing to open up your womb to a man like that, there's something wrong with you. You need therapy. You need to grow. You need to reflect. If you're protecting yourself, if you are valuing you, your future, your well-being, your offspring, your legacy through your children, you wouldn't even be attracted to a man like that.
Yeah, if you're looking at your future, but I will say this. We already know, like with, who is it? Freud, Sigmund Freud, psychosocial or psychosexual, because we know how Freud is. The 5 stages of the psychosexual development, certain ages are focused on what they're focused on. Now, when you don't have children, you think differently. And you have that phase where it's not going to happen to me, and that's during, the younger phase, like, they just, boom, going all in, motorcycle riding, stunting. It'll never happen to me. But once you have children and you're looking at your future, you'll be like, oh, okay. Just like I can say before I was married, it was all about me. And I was thinking I was a little different because I did think for the future. You know what I'm saying? I was working. However, you think of right now, what are you doing tomorrow? I don't know. Let's see. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm going to go to the mall and this is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to buy whatever it is that I want because I don't have any responsibility. Once you have responsibility, your thought process change. And I'm going to speak from a female's perspective. Well, where are you going? We're going to the party. We're going. Cleveland was our stomping grounds. The Flash, that was it.
Back in the day.
Right. Boom, boom, boom. And then once you became a parent, you'd be like, oh, let me see. And you start thinking because you're not just thinking about you. It's somebody else. Now, to your point, Amber, when we open our womb to people, we have a warning sign, especially if they already have a child.
Ooh.
When they have a child, you look at that picture and it's like, well, what's going to make me different if I have a child? If he's not over there spending time, and I'm going to say this, and I want you to come in, Art, on that. When I look and I see a guy talking about something and he's treating his child's mother any type of crazy, any type of way, what's going to make me different? I don't know what's happening in our mind that we think that, oh, they're not going to treat me that way. Listen, if I see somebody, I'll be like, oh, okay, well, I like him in the moment. And I see you treat your child any type of way. And you're younger and you're looking at, it's about me, it's about me, it's about me. Yeah, he treated his baby mother that way. Oh, okay, he didn't go to his child's birthday party. Ding! Hello! Know that if you have a child, he might not make yours. You are no different. And it is, listen here, we all got a box, plain box, cardboard box. Wait a minute. Wait. I'm going to come to you. We all got a cardboard box. Follow me, ladies. How do we decorate it? How do we treat it? Because that's what it boils down to. Are you going to wrap yours, put a bow on it? You can look at somebody and say, she's cute, she's ugly, and then you get mad at your dude because you be like, she ugly. Why are you condemning her? She didn't decorate her box. But it still was a box. It can still be used. Go ahead, Art.
The thing of it is that I feel in this day and age, the generation doesn't appreciate life the way that we were taught to appreciate life. You know, it's like they tend to take life for granted. You know, that's what I look at. You know, to me, and I'm going to use air quotes, this is a I don't really care generation, you know, and kind of revert back to what you were talking about earlier, you know. You were talking about social media. Everybody's clout chasing. Everybody's chasing social media because they found out a way that they're trying to figure out a way to make that 6 figures off of social media. You know, that's why people ain't working no more, because people are trying to find a way to get rich through social media. So it's like, that's why you have all these jobs available and all these companies that are paying these, you know, wages that, you know, was never heard of back in the day, you know. So, and like what I was saying earlier about not appreciating life, you know, even from a man's standpoint, I look at the young man today, it's like, you know, pants sagging, you know, not caring, you know, no respect for life, no respect for human beings. You know, they're not being taught the things that we were taught growing up. They're not taught respect. They're not taught having integrity. They're not taught how to carry themselves the way we were taught to carry ourselves. You know what I mean? It's like, me speaking from a father's standpoint, I understand that a kid's mind is like a sponge. They absorb everything that you do. You know, it's like, for example, look at my 2-year-old. You know, he watches everything that I do. He can literally walk into a room. If I'm doing something, he can mimic everything that I do. You know what I'm saying? You have to be careful what you have around your children, what you put in front of your children. It's like I said, this is a generation, I don't care. They're clout chasing. They don't care about what's going on. They don't care about the political side of things. Everybody trying to do the same thing. Everybody trying to be rich and trying to look good and try to drive the fanciest cars and, you know, wear the fanciest clothes. They don't care. You know, like I put a little post that said earlier, you know, it's like a crab in a barrel. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's trying to pull each other down and not trying to lift each other out. You know, the purpose is when you get out that barrel, you're supposed to reach back and pull each other out. But to me, the Black American race is losing because they're not trying to, you know, have that togetherness. You know what I'm saying? Chuck D quoted it best. Basically, he said it'll take a nation of millions to hold us back if the Black American race was to come together. But it's too much, you know, everybody's caught up in trying to be fancy, trying to be rich and trying to have all the money, but then they're trying to gain the knowledge. They're not trying to help one another in the community. You know, those rare few that are trying to do that, you know, and they don't, and it's like I said, Black America really doesn't care about the political side of things because they look at it like this, but we're going to lose anyway. And that shouldn't be the attitude.
And it should not be.
But, and I think that what you're talking about is great, but it really prior to action, it's a mindset issue. Like you said, there is a very deep-seated victim mentality in the Black community, and I do think a part of that is how our history is taught in this country to children to encourage, particularly I feel like young Black boys, to see themselves as victims. If you're a victim, you can't empower yourself. You can't affect change. You can't change your situation. It's just, woe is me. This is my lot in life. I have no options. I have no choices. Let me just coast and just exist.
You're not
trying to be better.
You have
yourself.
Get yourself around a true hustler. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, I'm going to say this.
That has goals. They got goals.
The right hustler. The right hustler.
The right way. Exactly.
Hold on 1 second, and I want to go to Art after this. The parent. I blame the parents. You know why? And I knew that before I got in a situation where I was actually working with children, able to see what's being taught. And I'm not going to say it's from that school, but just being in school, being a student. You cannot, it's like, okay, you go to school to learn. Learn what?
Exactly.
That's what we need to focus on. What are they teaching? We saw the video of the child in preschool or daycare, and they served all the white children and served served the white children first and then the black ones later. What are they being taught? Am I a supporter of childcare? It's all right, but when it's mine, I need to know. Because we had Danielle that was on, she got married. I apologize because I don't remember your married last name, but Danielle Taylor, she was talking about what was happening with her child. So she asked how her day was. And that's when she found out that she was being mistreated. Like, whoa, wait a second. A lot of parents don't ask their child, how was your day? Now, back to my point that I was going to speak on is, what are they teaching them? And it is our job as a parent to teach them. So I can't remember which one of you guys that were saying, that were talking about how, something about what they're teaching them in school or whatever, and it's a victim mindset that happens at home as well, because parents have gone through stuff, and when they go through stuff, they don't know what they're inflicting on their child. And like I know, like funerals. Okay, I'm gonna get this an insurance policy in case you die, because that's what you're saying. So you're telling your child, we got to have insurance policy and children here, we get a GoFundMe for this person died, this and that. Why are we, this is a question. Why are we preparing for the worst instead of planning for the best? Get that money that you use instead of for an insurance policy. I'm going to keep it 100. You're getting an insurance policy just in case something happened to my child. I can pay for that. Take that insurance policy money and put it toward your college. Put it toward that and say, okay, I got this aside for your college. Here's why. Your college education, your future. That child sees that. That child don't know nothing about a funeral. GoFundMe. Oh, okay, well, here's the thing. People are looking at it as taboo. They're looking at, they got a GoFundMe taboo. But you don't know if those people had a college fund.
Right.
You know what I mean? And when you tell your child, like, this is towards your college fund. We're putting this money aside for your college fund. Then you break every chain. Then you break generational curses of, woe is me. Oh, I need this. We need to have insurance because in case I get sick or my blood pressure. Listen, put it aside for the future. Plan for the future. Instead of preparing for the worst. And guess what? I looked at it. I had to learn that. I learned that because I was sitting, and thank God I had the position that I had. Only black face in the place. All of them in leadership, one grandmother, her grandchild got hit by, I think, the grandfather. He backed up on it. Y'all know the story. Well, the personal person. So they raise money selling spaghetti dinners. My mindset, because I'm used to it, that's why I'm speaking from experience. I was like, y'all don't have insurance? And they looked at me and gave me an honest answer. They were like, no, Mel. We just go ahead and make payments on the parlor. We don't expect our children to die before us. So the insurance is on them, not their future. And that was a wake-up call for me. And this was, years ago. I was like, man. We do, as black people, we prepare for the worst instead of planning for the future. Wait, I got to let Art go because that's who I was waiting on.
It's the mindset, like you said, at one point in time, it was about, put this away for your college fund. It wasn't about put this away for your insurance, because, and it starts at home, like you said, working in a school setting at one point in time, I worked for Summit Academy. It is about what you teach your children at home first. You know what I'm saying? It starts with your parenting. I'm big on that. I'm big on how you raise your children. You know what I'm saying? It is like a must that you teach them proper etiquette from the age of as soon as they start walking, as soon as they start being able to speak. You teach them, yes, ma'am, no, sir, yes, sir. I mean, some people have they have their thing about that. But for me, the way I grew up is it's a form of respect. You know what I'm saying? You are teaching them respect. I teach my children, I'm going to speak for me. I teach my children how to say, thank you. You know what I mean? May I? Because those things are important. When they step out of school, at one point in time, my daughter went to, she went to Alta. And I went to go pick her up one day.
What is Alta for the listening audience? We across country.
Alta was a school over in Indian. It's a school over in Indiana.
They don't know. What is Alta, though?
Okay, Alta is a special school. It's a school for kids with special needs.
Okay, there you go.
My daughter at one point in time was going there. And I walked in to go pick her up one day, and the teacher looks at me and says, your daughter is the politest child in school. And I was like, oh, no. But my whole thing of it is that, you're supposed to teach your children well. And I remember I had a moment where I was, before my youngest son was where I had my son and my daughter out, we were in the mall and we were shopping and we were in the jewelry store and I was looking at some jewelry. And so my kids were standing there quiet, but they were watching me the whole time. And as they were watching me, they saw it was a white child that came across with their parents. They were walking down the hallway and the child was having a tantrum. And my kid just kind of looked. And so the guy says to me, oh, wow, your children are so well behaved. I never said a word. I never opened up my mouth. I kept looking what I was looking at. So sure enough.
You ain't go Sophia on them, huh?
Nope.
Off the color purple.
Watch this. This is what happened. So long story short, somebody else comes over and says, wow, your children are so nice. They're so quiet. They're so polite. I said to that person, like, okay, I didn't say nothing else. I still didn't say anything. I did not say a word. The third salesperson comes over. Oh my goodness, your children there. So I said, it's called home training. And the lady was like, oh, and she jumped. I didn't mean anything about it. I said, listen, you have to teach your children at home how to act. At home, then they can act like they got some sense in public. You know what I'm saying? And that's the problem with raising children today. These parents are just doing anything in front of their children, not considering what they pick up, not considering, their future. It's like for me as a father, and I say a father, I'm not a baby's daddy, I'm a father. I change the pamper. Only thing I don't do, I don't braid hair. So everything else I do, you know what I'm saying? I change pampers, I wash clothes, I get my kids up and I get them ready for school. I take them to the bus stop. Because fatherhood is important to me because I know through what I went through in my childhood, but in the same token, I want my kids to understand that you have to have that balance. Mommy and daddy count. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of these young folks really don't see that. They just see, oh, girl, he cute. Oh, he look at his car. Oh, look at his shoes. Look what he got. They don't care about, okay, what has he got going on for himself? How long is his time span? They don't look at none of that. Only thing they look at is that moment. They see, oh, girl, he cute. I can't wait to get with him. And then you get with him, and then it's all bad because it gets you caught up in a situation.
What age group is that? What age group is that? Oh, he cute.
Oh, I'm just gonna say 21 and up.
Okay.
Because these youngins out here, they just, girl, he cute. Look at him. He thugged out. Look at, it's like. Okay, his pants is sagging. Okay, he got on Jordans. Okay, he got the little belt hanging. He got a little designer belt hanging. So what? I mean, like, what does he have mentally? The thing that I was taught when I was growing up, my uncle told me, be a leader, not a follower. So I've always considered myself a leader.
Okay.
It's like, I've always been different. I've always had a different mindset. I've always had a different mentality. The streets didn't mean nothing to me because I had people that were in law enforcement. My cousin, a well-known decorated person in the game.
Okay. Now, I want to come in on that, Art, because according to Erickson, I'm all into the psychology. According to Erickson, the psychosocial phase, that's why I asked you that age, is love from 18 to 40. So that's why you have that, oh yeah, he fly, but we're not looking at that. That's why I said if you don't have pre-children, you're looking like he cute. My thoughts, I ain't gonna lie to you, I was that person. At that age, before I had a family, the whole nine, I'm looking at, okay, yeah, he cute. We'll make cute babies. I'm looking at the future. When I met the parents, let me tell you, two-family household. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, well, I see that. And in my mind, you're like, okay, this brought up the right way. You got two-family household. You look at things differently than I did with my mom. Now, I'm going to put this out here, which I didn't share with a lot of people. My dad was in the war, so his mindset wasn't right.
I understand. The same way. Vietnam. Come on.
Yeah. So, when you look at a single mother, it's not like, oh, okay, they just a single mother out here doing their thing. You don't know how they became that single mother. And sometimes, wait a minute, and I'm going to let you come in, but hold on 1 second. When they're a single mother, sometimes, and you have some people that's dealing with mental illness, it's best that your child is not around them. So those are kudos to you. We know each other, man. You know what I mean? So it's like making that decision. It's like, okay, that's your father, but making the decision and where you see them, it's like, okay, they're sick. But now they really focus on mental illness. Okay, so we all have mental health. So and I got to teach. I'm sorry, the nurse in me is coming out. We all have mental health. So we're allowed to have our moments. But mental illness is actually a thing. It's actually a thing. And I'm going to let you go, Amber, right after this. I want to say, I asked that question at the beginning of the show. What's going on? We care about the likes. We care about all that good stuff. According to Erickson, 18 to 40 is the intimacy versus isolation. I just want to fit in. So all you guys said that. I just had to put that out there. That's that age and that's that phase. Go ahead, Amber.
I wanted to add mental illness or addiction. Sometimes it's better for the parent not to be around. But to tie into what both of you said as far as like this generation, I think, particularly in the Black community, there is a lack of accountability with Black parents. I think, like Art was saying, a lot of these kids are not being raised right. They're not being taught home training. That's the parents' fault. Why is every generation, if it seems like it's getting worse, that's because the previous generation didn't raise the next generation.
Right.
So it's not like
point taken.
Oh, it just started. It's a generational issue. It's a cyclical issue, and as a community, I think it's because there's a lack of emphasis on the importance of parenthood, motherhood, and fatherhood, and that just didn't start with the younger people, that are making babies right now. That comes from how they was raised and how they parents was raised and how they grandparents were raised. And every generation is getting worse because there is a lack of focus and value and protection and respect for the Black family and for motherhood and for fatherhood, respectively. Like we as a community do not value our children and how important it is to mold them and raise them. And every generation is getting worse. There's a bigger portion of the population that are not good parents.
This is true.
Okay.
Right.
So we gave. Go ahead, Nick.
Go ahead, Nick.
I've seen where little kids, say something or do something, and the parents think it's funny and cute, and they forget. That creates a monster right there, because then that child repeatedly does stuff, because then the parent, instead of disciplining that child, they think I want the best.
I got the bail.
Okay, they think the shit is cute and it's not. I always did hate that. If your child is doing something they're not supposed to do, or saying something they're not supposed to say, discipline them. Don't laugh. You get them right then and there. Don't wait until later on.
They don't do that no more. They don't do that because you know how we grew up. How we grew up was if you did something crazy, you got smashed right on the spot. It wasn't no, well, I'll catch you later. No, if they did catch you later, yeah, you got that whooping. But 9 times out of 10, if you did something wrong, you got popped in the mouth. You got popped for that right on the spot. And this generation, they don't know about certain types of, discipline and respect and integrity and, you know what I'm saying, and being honest. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these kids don't know what honesty is because they watch their parents. They watch their parents make moves and do different things that, you know what I'm saying, that they end up doing. And then they wonder, why is my baby in prison? Why is my baby going through this and that? You know why? Because you let them see and do everything and think it's okay. I'm not my kids' friends. Let's make that abundantly clear. And to piggyback on what we were talking about earlier, Mill had mentioned about our fathers being Vietnam veterans. It's like people don't understand what happened with that particular war. They don't understand that men were just, they were in war 1 second and they just dropped them off at home. Okay, nice to see you, go ahead, have a wonderful day. They didn't give them no step down program. They had nothing available to help those men before they actually walked back into their normal lives. They just walked back into their normal lives and they were still in the midst of a war in their head. You know what I'm saying? My father went through that. You know what I'm saying? My father went through a lot of hell. My father went through a lot of resentment. I could speak on that. So for me, it was like, I didn't understand what was going on. It took me to get grown to get the information and knowledge and understand, okay, what was going on with him? Then why am I crazy? Because they just took them out and just put them back in the civilization.
PTSD.
And then actually you became a part of the war. You became a part of the army with them.
Right. Now, I will say this. Because of them, we are now. And when I say that, you see the changes now that the positions and the programs they have in place now. Because guess what? That was like the drop off PTSD. Y'all hear that all the time. You'll see people who, when you had the Saudi war, all that, they have programs in place because of them. And, for that, I mean, it's like, man, I gotta cheer on. You gotta cheer your veterans on. Like that's
no doubt. Because I couldn't imagine being 1 minute, my father, it took him 40 years to talk about that.
Okay, hold on. Let's give it to him. And you'll hear people say thank you for your service.
Right.
And
I'm big on that.
And watch this though. Watch this. You'll hear younger people to say thank you for your service, and they may not know anything about it, but they're being taught because they see the example, and which brings us back into exactly what we're talking about. You see, it's at home, and that's where we have to actually say, wait. Hold on. Now, Annette has a point. I've seen it working in the school system. Amber, I know you've seen it. It's like, yeah, okay, our parents did spank us. Well, let's keep it whoop us. We black. Let's do it. They whooped us. You know what I'm saying? And you're like, okay.
You got that switch off the tree.
Right. And now they're teaching the children. That's what I said. What are they teaching them? If your parent hit you, you call 911. So it's like, it's a double-edged sword. So you're like, okay, you want to call me from the school and tell me what my child is doing. This is what I know culturally, how to address this issue. And then you want to call the people on me. Who is it? What are we doing here?
Remember back in the day when they used to be allowed to spank us in school?
Right.
Oh, they ain't spank us. That was a paddle. That was abuse.
Exactly.
I got that wood.
Our parents try to discipline us. You want to call the police on them.
That's now.
Why is that okay?
But listen, that's now. Because remember, we had that wood back then. And I think the wood was worse than the switch.
Thank you.
It's stung.
My kids, if any of my kids was to pick up, and I'm going to quote Medea, if any of my kids to pick up the phone, then they're going to dial 911, they're going to dial 919, I promise you. You better believe they better not ever think that they're going to do that, because I feel like when you discipline your children, like, I don't believe my kids should walk around in fear of me, but I'm going to strike the God of fear in you.
Well, let me tell you this.
That, don't be disrespectful.
Let me tell you this. Let me show you this. I think the problem as a parent, we don't follow through. We're not committed. Now, watch this. You act up in school. They was like, oh, you're going to get it when you get home. Nobody even touched you. The whole day you worried about, you watching the clock like, oh, God, I got to go home. I'm going to get a whooping. It was a follow through with the generation prior to us. And then we are like, no, I remember getting whoopings and well, I'm not going to discipline my child. I'm going to talk to him. Okay, it works for some and some it doesn't. But you got to look at a cultural thing, and let's keep it 100. The beatings came from who? Who? It went further. What did they do to us? Once our friends told us to get on that boat, let's go on this cruise, and came over here and became slaves. Get out of here. That's why I don't be listening to half y'all. I'll be like, I got to do my own research. I ain't getting on a boat. That's why I don't take cruises now.
Exactly.
The last boat.
My whole thing with it is that if you teach your children, they talk about it takes a village to raise. You know what I'm saying? Like, as parents, our presence is so important. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. In school, I will be up in that school in a heartbeat. Miss Wilson will tell you. I mean,
we ain't gonna say no names. Scratch that out. We cannot do that. Okay.
The secretary knows me personally because I'm always at the school, because it's like, yo, if something go wrong, I got the principal number on speed dial. I will call the teachers in a minute and be like, yo, did you handle so-and-so, such and such? Because that's my child. And I had to jump on a particular teacher. I'm not going to say no names because, my kids were in a situation where it was like they weren't in danger, but it's like, okay, you're supposed to call us to let us know. Like, they had a tutoring session after school, and nobody told us that tutoring was canceled today. So my kids just riding the bus. They headed to the bus station. I'm upset because I'm like, wait a minute, hold up.
Lack of communication. So it was some miscommunication.
Your child was following her brother. I said he's 5 years old. I said your responsibility and your duty is while he's in that building to make sure my kids are safe at all times. Period. And I should have known that they didn't have tutoring time.
Okay, go ahead, Amber.
I just want to bring up that as far as like disciplining your children, it's not just within the Black community either. If you guys are online, you'll notice that Asians, Hispanics, and it's really people of color discipline their children differently. And I think like with this age of entitlement, and I think that's part of like the foundation of like the incel mindset, and the social media and validation seeking behavior that we're seeing so much has a lot to do with how children are disciplined. And it's usually people of color of different races, especially foreigners, who believe in, disciplining their child in that manner. But so that's not setting us apart from other groups of people. But there's other issues within the Black community that is causing us to fall behind, not just the disciplinary issue. Other groups of people discipline their kids in the same manner.
Some children could be child prodigies. You look at the Japanese and the Chinese culture, they start their kids off young, very young, coming out the womb, giving them knowledge at an early age. That's why you have so many in these different ethnical backgrounds where their children are child prodigy pianists, and they are, super brilliant because those parents and those cultures take the time to feed their kids knowledge like never before.
And let me add this, because I got friends of all of all races. Look, isn't that the main one? Oh yeah, I got a Black friend, I got an Asian friend. But anyway, I can say this. Asians tell their children what they're going to be. Indians, you're going to be a doctor. They drop them off. And Amber, remember we were having that conversation where dropped her off to take the test, to be a physician, okay? To take the entrance test. She sat there and put her name on the paper and did not take it because that's not what she wanted to do. So that was her thing. So of course she was blackballed from the community, but that's the difference. And she said they just instilled, this is what you're going to do. This is what you're going to do. There was no choices. This is what you're going to do. And that's why you see that all the time. I was like, wow, this is interesting, where you can be whatever it is you want to be. Do you remember when, like the incident that happened, and rest in peace to all those people that were just going to feed their families at the grocery store, and someone came, and because I'm not going to give him what he wants, which is this whole social thing. Someone went in there and just took their lives, did the research, and decided, okay, I'm just going to take your life. Do you remember when you're talking about there's a difference, Art, when you were saying, you had that one throwing a tantrum? Do you remember it was a time where it was like, okay, we already knew the color of the person. We'd be like, oh, that had to be somebody white. Right. Then the DC sniper came. I knew he was white. And when they said black, listen. I was like, what? Go ahead, Nick. Go ahead, Nick. What'd you say, Nick?
I said my whole entire heart just sank down in my stomach when I found out the DC sniper was a black man and a black child that he had brainwashed. I was like,
that he didn't just brainwash them, he raised him. See, that's what I'm saying. So regardless, you got to look, and they're watching. And boom.
Well, the thing of it is, I don't put nothing past nobody.
Not anymore after that DC sniper. I said, oh.
In this day and age, it's like I said, it could be anybody. But like you said, we know by the way it's presented in the media who it is. So, like I said, yeah, I was blown away about the DC sniper situation, excuse me. And, you know, like I said, it's really sad that, you know, you raise these children, and especially, you know, white America always wants to condemn black America, but they are the first ones. They want to be mad and shoot up everybody because of their own personal issues, their own, you know, their own
alleged
bullies, and their own alleged bullies. That's I quote their own alleged bullies, their own alleged insecurities, their own alleged, you know, personal feelings about race, color, and creed, or whatever the case may be. So it's really sad that when black America, you know what I'm saying, has to deal with, here we go again. You know, Charlotte was another case. Here's a white man that walks into a church, you know, shoots up a black church, and people are there just to pray. And, you know, and 9 times out of 10, them people ain't bothering you. Why are you bothering those people?
That's a bully. Off guard.
You ain't in white America. You ain't in the white grocery store shooting it up because they
go to the corner. Go to the drug slingers. Go to the duffel bag boy. If you hard, you know what I mean? You want to come off hard. All right, listen, we talked about the problem. I need from each and every one of you solutions. Real quick. Go ahead.
Solutions towards, I'm sorry.
Everything that we're talking about, breaking every chain. Come on.
Well, the biggest solution that I see that...
No, the solution. Words of encouragement. How can we fix this problem?
The thing I see is that black America just needs to come together. We are so talented. We are so intelligent. We are successful when we put our mind to it. We can be great. We can be the greatest nation in the world if we were just to come together a whole lot more.
Okay, Amber, on you.
I would say to focus on yourself. Focus on improving yourself, healing yourself, growing, being a better person as a woman. Be very selective about who you choose to procreate with. And then when you do become a parent, man or a woman, you need to understand that you will have to make many sacrifices. And that child is now more important than you are. And you need to do all in your power to give them a leg up and a head start. And be willing to learn and unlearn your own experiences and new things so that hopefully your offspring will do better than you.
Okay, Nick?
Remember that we come from a nation of kings and queens. Adjust your crown and do what you got to do. We need to get back to that. A powerful nation.
All right. Let's give it up for our co-host, because that's it. I was going to say guest. This is not guest. This is a co-host. Let's give it up for the host of all the events around here. So if you don't know him, y'all need to check him out. Let's give it up for RB. All right. Now let's give it up to community analyst Amber Dee. Thank you for coming on.
Bye, everybody.
All right. Then we got it for none other. We know the voice of the community, Nick Dog. Thank you. Hey. Give it up for her. Yes. All right, lovely people, that is my time. I thoroughly enjoyed you as I do each and every single Saturday. Today's footnote is, just because it is does not mean it has to be. I love you guys for listening. Just like I said, find you, embrace you. Most importantly, always love you. Until next week, people, Shop Talk on your favorite podcast. And YouTube and social media and all that stuff. Get them numbers up. Like us on all socials. Deuces.